What's going on, you all? Monitor Tuber out here, Prophyletics Capoeira, coming to bring you the next Capoeira video, which is Capoeira kicks ranked from easiest to most complicated. So before I get into this, make sure you give me a subscribe, like, comment, share, turn on your notification bells, whatever the case may be. I appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me thus far, and I'm going to get right into this video. So in Capoeira, there are plenty of kicks. I'm not going to go over all of them today, and definitely not in this one video. However, I will go over a couple, and I will rank them from easiest to the hardest that I'm going to do today, because Capoeira does have a few kicks that are kind of complicated to do. And I do have a knee injury on my left leg, so I won't be able to do a few of them as equally on both sides. However, you'll get the point straight out. So the first kick that you generally learn in Capoeira is called the banso. And the banso means blessing. So it's the straight kick as to where you bless somebody in the chest. You pretty much break their breastbone. So you bless their breastbone with your foot. So the banso is a straight up trajectory press kick. Now, when you press with that kick, what you want to do is make sure, I'll turn to the side so you see it, is that you kick with the heel projected. You don't want the toe out in the banso. Some schools do it, but in our school, the banso is supposed to be a projected heel kick. So the objective is to place the heel into the person's chest and break the breastbone. So what the banso looks like after I get into my ginga is here. You chamber it and you press it into the chest. Boom. You chamber it and you press. You chamber it and you press. The banso is one of the easiest kicks, in my opinion. There's only one more kick that's a little easier than that, but a banso, in my opinion, is an easier kick. A kick that's slightly the same ease as that one is the ponteira. Now, in different schools, the ponteira is thrown different. In our school, the Escabi lineage, we kick the ponteira by putting the ball of our foot in somebody's chin. In a lot of schools, they flip the ponteira like a little flap or something like that. So the ponteira, what that looks like is, if I come here, I kick straight up. Boom. Simple kick there, right? Nothing too much to it. You make sure that when you kick it, you protect and bring your other hand across your chest. Boom. So the ponteira, not too hard either. So those two kicks, in my opinion, are the easiest two Capoeira kicks to actually learn how to do. Now, we get into some other kicks which involve a lot of hip engagement. So the meia lua de French. And like I said before, in some schools, these kicks are thrown differently. So what I'm going to do is show both styles. So the meia lua de French is a kick that comes from the outside to the inside. So typically what you're doing is you're connecting the inside of your foot across your opponent's face. So the meia lua de French is like a parenthesis, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is, when I'm standing cadeira, is carry my foot across and land back in. Carry my foot across and land back in. So the meia lua de French carries across the front. A little bit more hip engagement, right? Just a little bit more hip engagement. So that kick will rank a little bit more difficult because it has more hip engagement. The next kick that I will probably rank up on the system would be the quixada atrás, or quixada de French, which is the opposite of the meia lua de French. So if the meia lua de French went inside to out, the quixada de French will go, outside to in. The quixada de French will go inside to out. Got it? So if I'm doing my ginga and I go here, I go into out. Now, that kick is a little bit more difficult because, as you see, when I kick, I have to make sure that I carry my leg all the way back outside. There's a lot of hip engagement there. So I will rate that one on my number 4. So we've got The banzo is the easiest, number 1. We've got the pontera as the second easiest, number 2. We've got the meia lua de French as the third easiest, number 3. We've got the quixada atrás or quixada de French as number 4. And now we start getting into some of the more engaged kicks. The chapa. So if I'm doing the chapa, chapa is your French, and all your French means is in the front. What I have to do with the chapa is your French is I have to pick it up to the side, I have to release it, I have to bring it back in, and try to maintain balance. So I have to bring it in, out, back in, and back to Jenga prep. So that's what we're looking at on maybe the most fifth difficult kick, or not fifth easiest, I should say. I'm going from ease to difficulty. So that would be our chapa. So that would be number 5 on the 5th easiest. The 6th easiest, in my opinion, is the martello. So the martello is the hammer, martello de estralo, hammer to the stars. So you kick your opponent in the head and make them see stars. So this is the 6th easiest kick to me, which is simply boom. That's it. Nothing over the top, just control. A lot of hip control in capoeira kicks. So that would be my 6th easiest. So now what I'm getting ready to do is start going into a few of the difficult ones. All right, coming in at number 7. Now we're going to start getting into a few of the difficult kicks, in my opinion. So coming in at number 7 is the armada. Armada is our first spinning kick. So the reason that the armada is a little more difficult is because after you spin, you have to set your eyes on your opponent before you release your kick. Boom. And you have to make sure that they're there before you release your kick. So the armada, in my opinion, boom, would be the 7th kick as far as difficulty. I gotta replace this floor. Coming in at number 8 at the most difficult will be the quixada. Now, the quixada may look a little bit easier than the armada. However, the quixada has to be landed in the right spot as to where you don't get your foot taken when you come in to shoot it. So the quixada includes 3 steps, which is the fugida, the step in, and the release. The fugida, the step in, and the release. So the quixada, in my opinion, is the 8th hardest to throw out of the kicks that I'm going to show you today. And you have to have control and bring the kick all the way back. So the quixada is number 8. And coming in finally at number 9 at the most difficult capoeira kick to throw in this video for the beginner stage, by the way. Let me put that caveat in there. These kicks that I'm throwing right now are the beginner stage. There are far more advanced kicks and far more variable ways to throw these kicks. So there are variants to these kicks that I'm throwing right now that are a lot more difficult. But out of the first 9 kicks in capoeira, the most difficult coming in at number 9 will be the meia lua de compasso. Okay? So the meia lua de compasso, the half moon compass, the signature capoeira kick. So with the meia lua de compasso, boom, you have to be able to completely rotate, throw the kick, and not lose eye contact. So when I'm throwing the kick, I'm smelling my armpit and looking at you as I'm throwing it. So in my opinion, the meia lua de compasso would be the 9th hardest kick out of the beginner capoeira kicks. And there you have it, 9 beginner capoeira kicks ranked from easiest to most difficult. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will catch you in the next lesson.